Reading scripture in the original Hebrew translation really does make a profound difference and gives us insight into what the Hebrews interpreted as God. So Jacob is approached, spoken to, experiencing an encounter with the one called Yahweh, Jehovah, Yahuwah, however you choose to express it, the Tetragrammaton. And this one tells him, I am not the God that you wrestled with. So Jewish people don't eat the thigh of an animal because Jacob wrestled with God after his vision of the ladder to heaven, and his thigh was struck and injured, and then he demanded a blessing from this deity. Being aware that Jacob, who was taught by Isaac, who was taught by Abraham, who was taught by Seth, who was taught by Noah, and they all knew each other, and so Seth and Noah would have taught Isaac and Jacob, that anything, any presence, any being, any deity, anything that wasn't plain human was called God. Just opens up potential to understand why God, as expressed through Hebrew scripture and thus by modern Jews, does not have a consistent personality, a consistent agenda. And Torah, scripture says, Torah is God. It is the governing force of right thinking, right action, right being. And in Christian and Hebrew circles, in the Abrahamic ones, it's called righteousness. Well, in other cultures, Torah exists. Now, the confusion of languages at Babel, you can blame it on that, but the different languages, it's called Dharma in some traditions. In very old traditions, it's called Maat and referred to as a goddess. It is an influencing, governing principle of existence. And when we embody it, we choose the right thoughts, the right state of being, the right feelings towards things, the right perception, and thus the right action or inaction. We become one with Torah, Dharma, Maat, whatever you want to call it. And we become an extension of it. So when I behave in alignment as an expression of Ma'at or Dharma or Torah, I am an extension of that. And it comes with personality. And so there are spirits and beings that are as one with that we call God. And if we can allow that it exists in other traditions other than the Abrahamic one, the Garden of Eden, the first world in Vedic tradition, in Sumerian texts before the gods left. This is when mankind became aware and conscious that it was separate from and responded in a different capacity than what was around it. Oh, I'm noticing that I'm acknowledging the presence of the Spirit. And so I'm looking at it. I'm observing it. We become the observer of our observance and our physiological responses to what we are observing. And then we create perceptions of it, judgment, fear, adoration, that may be out of balance because we think that it is greater than us and we are separate from it. And so we left Eden, we left paradise, the gods left us. It was a receding into the background because we perceived a separation, and that separation only got greater and greater when the initial separation caused pain, loss, abandonment to be felt, experienced, and perceived by the observation that I do not do what that one does. It is like the eye suddenly figuring out the finger has different capabilities, and maybe it's greater because the finger can work without the eyes. But the eyes can't touch physically without the finger. And so then the eyes perceives itself as less than, and it feels loss. It feels abandonment. It feels inferior because it's been abandoned by that feeling of oneness, of being a part of being necessary. The eyes help me hit the right spot. The finger can't do that all on its own. Unless I open my third eye. Then I can do that. So that is the whole knowledge of good and evil, of being an observer of the reality of that separation. Because that oneness, that being a part of, is good. It is harmonious. It is a belonging. It is a knowing. It is a fitting in. It is a being at home. And separation is the evil, the judgment, the perceiving of loss and separation. And so we leave that state of oneness. We can't exist in that garden. The one world became the second world. That initiated ritual. And then we moved on to temples and greater rituals to try to connect to the divine. And so, as it's been said, the further you are from God, the more laws you need. And so that's why the 316 laws of Torah are necessary, is because of the distance. But when beings, people like Yeshua come and they say that oneness, that kingdom is within you. We are a part of that essence, that initial being, the initial creation, which just came into being. It came into form. It was birthed. And so if we know and we remember that we are a part of it, then we don't need all of the ritual to connect and recognize and acknowledge. So for example, I take the bus. Every bus driver is like, no problem. Oh, that's where you want to get let off? No problem. It's a stop sign. I'm stopped. We'll open the door. You get off. Not a big deal. But one bus driver decided to take issue with it. We'll hold up traffic. Sir, people are expecting to stop and wait for other traffic to go by. They're expecting to stop and wait at the stop sign. It is not going to be disruptive. And somebody helped me bring my cart off, and after they had helped me bring it on, and I made, I have not experienced helpfulness and kindness like without demand or condition, or the guy just jumped up and helped. And so of course I expounded on how beautiful and wonderful a feeling it was. And so the next time that same bus driver stopping, he was not opening the door. I pulled the cord. He had to open the door because now the whole bus load knew. The camera's filming. Stop request. And it announced stop request, stop request. So he reluctantly opened the door. And there was a car stopped in front of him. So it was convenient. We were all stopped and waiting for somebody else anyways. So as I got off, I said that. I said, look, we had to stop and wait here anyways, and got off. And then the third time, when he was a driver, I got off someplace else at the bus station, so I wasn't asking anything unusual. But as I rode the bus, I was given to understand, because he very much has the demeanor of like a former police officer, former like mercenary soldier, like somebody who had a position of physically aggressive, assertive authority that was never questioned. I mean, I asked him, the bus is going to stop, it's going to take a break. Are you going to get back on as a driver or as another driver? I'll see you in 20 minutes. All you had to say was, I'll be the driver still. Because they do switch drivers at times. So but the third time I rode the bus with him as a driver, I received the understanding, after a young woman tripped and fell getting off the bus, and he didn't even budge. Some guy got up and ran to the door like, is she okay? Does she need help getting up? That driver just did not budge, did not flinch. She fell on her butt, and he was ready. He just closed the door, ready to drive on. So I received the understanding after witnessing that the whole reason he was put in that position as a bus driver is so he could witness the moments of compassion between the community members. So the man helping me with the basket, my sweet demeanor, not taking no shit, just the lively interactions, the conversations, the concern. A couple told me how, they moved up here, got an apartment, and then all of a sudden, boom, his disability was taken away because he moved to a different state. And that's like a sucker punch, rug pulled out from under you kind of feeling experience. And although, thankfully, I've been blessed with not feeling it, getting dragged down into the feeling, but I can acknowledge with empathy and compassion exactly how that feels, because I have had that experience. Just when you think you got everything in order, in line, and you're going to do great, like, boom, all the resources to maintain it are gone out from under you. I know how that feels. It's always the government, man. It's always the government. So the whole point is, if we need religious context, if we need to say, oh, Jesus came to me and, now I'm a righteous person, if that's okay, but we want to allow also that somebody else could say, I'm one with Dharma, or Maat is my goddess, and I am now righteously inclined. I perform right action. Everything's in balance. I can perceive my role in things. So my role with that bus driver was to be a conveyor of compassion that is not weak. Physical weakness that is not frail or so limiting that it diminishes my humanity, whereas I don't deserve help and support. Just my gratitude feeds the spirit of those to whom I direct it, and appreciation. Men really, really need expressions of appreciation. They really do. So, now it's starting to rain, and I've got to go get my bedding out from the clothesline that I made between two trees because I don't want to get in a wet sleeping bag. I hope this helps somebody to make that shift. Because what we do not have a full understanding of in the Bible can come in, be supplemented from other traditions to fill in the blanks, to give us a greater picture. Because Jesus coming might look like me sitting on a bus emanating love and acceptance, and the knowledge and awareness that comes to my mind extends to the spirits of everybody on that bus, including the bus driver. And so there's a part of the bus driver, by my receiving it and the thought being expressed clearly, he's here to learn compassion. His spirit is clued in. Oh, this body, this anger, this lack of compassion that I took on to protect myself needs to go. And that's why I'm in this position. So now these eyes have to observe and imitate, start to practice these actions. And so the last time I got off the bus, I just very sweetly said thank you, because we all thank the bus driver when we get off, like most of us do. And I said, I hope you have a blessed day. And he's like, you too. Like he couldn't believe those words were coming out of his mouth. He was telling me to have a blessed day. So I said, thank you. And I just kept walking. So this man, who would never tell anybody, oh, I hope you have a good day, or probably would have never said anything about God or blessings or anything spiritual in his life, just expressed hope that somebody else would have a blessed day. Like, this does not happen by accident, because other times people just automatically respond. It's like They're used to being asked, how's it going? And so they just say, good. So I'll say hello, and they'll be like, good. And they'll keep walking. Like I had asked them, how you doing? They have automatic responses. They expect a certain expression as acknowledgement of their presence, and so they have an autopilot reaction. But this was not an automatic, because this guy is just like, Nora, his response to it, but what came out of his mouth was, you too. And he couldn't help it. Like, I remember I was with my children in a camper, and my son's father was on the corner begging for money, food, whatever. And a woman was preaching at him, and he sent her over to me. So, I'm leaning out the camper door, and she's like, do you know you're going to heaven when you die? Do you know that you're going to be saved? And it just came out of my mouth, like Spirit, Torah, Dharma, Maat was claiming me, because it came out of my mouth. I am where He is, and He is where I am. I already have a presence in heaven. She just looked like, oh, and walked away. She did not know what to do with that. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know what to do with this. Because I was living a sinful life. But I was reading my Bible every day, and I was thinking I should observe Torah, and I made little tassels for my kids' clothes and my clothes, my outer garments. So they didn't have all the knots in them and stuff that's in the oral Torah that we don't have access to if we just limit ourselves to the Bible. So they weren't tzitzits, they were just little tassels. Which is delightful. It really is. We do the best we can with what we have, right? So, hopefully this helps you expand. And if not, so be it.